Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash, Barakatah. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to Yakim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Raya with another video, and I'm going to be using an article from RT.com titled Buffer Zone for Independent California. New Cal exit plan would give Native Americans half of the state. Supporters of a long-running effort to see California secede from the United States have revamped their plans to include the creation of an autonomous Native American nation, which would encompass almost half of the new state. Cal exit supporters were given the go-ahead in April this year to begin collecting signatures to get the question of Californian independence on the special 2021 ballot. It will be no easy task, however, because supporters will need to collect 365,880 signatures in order to see the question put to a statewide vote. And this civil war between you Edomites, or so-called white people in the United States, is heating up with each passing day. Just with this Cal exit alone, we can see how much you liberal and conservative Edomites hate each other. And also this Saturday, there's going to be a pro-Trump rally in Oregon where Antifa members are talking about bringing guns. So we just have to wait and see how that turns out. But civil war is right around the corner, and there's nothing you can do to avert it. And with that being the case, that's just more of a sign that we're at the end of America or Babylon the Great's rulership. And this brings me to Mark chapter 24, Mark chapter 3, verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. So there's going to be no more Make America Great Again. We're at the end of America's rulership. It's past the point of no return. Cal exit supporters, Slovakia. Instead of simply seceding from the U.S., however, the new plans for Cal exit involve creating a special Native American autonomous nation within the new independent state, creating a buffer zone between Donald Trump's America and the new independent California Republic, according to Yes California co-founder Marcus Ruiz Evans. And in the spirit, I believe those at the top know that you Native Americans are the children of Israel, you Gadites, and they're doing whatever they can to try to break up the tribes and avert these prophecies from coming to pass. But that's not going to happen, where these prophecies will come to pass. And besides, any of you Native Americans in the know shouldn't fall for this okey doke, because as it says in as it says in Exodus 23 verse 32, thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. So any of you Israelites out there, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, shouldn't be making any covenants with these heathen nations, especially Esau, such as voting in his system, or running for political office, or anything like that. Especially you Native Americans, you should remember what Esau did with those treaties in the past to your people. They made those peace treaties and then broke them and put you in an even worse situation than the one you were in before. Tomorrow, we are releasing the details of the new Cal exit plan, which establishes an autonomous Native American nation, not a reservation, though this whole country is a reservation for you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. It's a prison camp. You can't do anything in it without Esau coming against you and breaking apart your plans or putting you to death. This is not our rest. This place was never meant to be our rest. It was our punishment for going off from the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. The first of its kind in North America, created through the retrocession of most federal properties in California to Native Americans. Another movement co-founder, Luis J. Marinelli, explained the decision as a way to right some of the wrongs of the past by giving back land to Native American people, but that's not how the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob gets down. any blood or iniquity committed against his people must be required from the people that committed that iniquity. So no placating or anything like that is going to save you Edomites or so-called white people from your coming judgment, as it says in Revelations chapter 13 verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. Verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. So this is all you Edomites have to look forward to, going into captivity and getting paid for your sins that you committed against the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, or the true children of Israel. And double is going to happen to you for what you did to us. According to a map published by the Yes California CalExit campaign, the long-term plan would see the state sliced down the middle from Oregon in the north to the Mexico border in the south. The new version of California would take up the western coastal half of the state, which is already home to 2/3 of California's population. The inland, less populated regions would make up the Native American Autonomous Zone. The boundary between the new California and the Autonomous Zone was decided based on the fact that most of the federal land is located in the eastern region of California, but there are also to be recognized but there will also be some recognized Native American tribes living in the western part of the state. Whoever wrote this article has a bad grammar. CalExit campaign. In our new CalExit plan, we retrocede federal land back to Native Americans. Here's a map of the federal lands in California. We return virtually all of its Native Americans to establish the first ever Native American nation in North America. The CalExit campaign held a rally at the California State Capitol in Sacramento on July 4th, calling for an end to the American occupation of the state. A statement released by the campaign said the U.S. Independence Day was no longer a day to celebrate. There have been many attempts over the years by various campaign groups to see California secede from the U.S., but the idea picked up steam with the election of Donald Trump as president in 2016. A 2017 poll taken after Trump's election showed 32% support for California secession, up from 20% in 2014. Not to be confused with CalExit, there is also the Cal 3 campaign, supported by venture capitalist billionaire Tim Draper, which aims to split California into 3 separate states: Northern California, Southern California, and plain old California. That effort suffered a setback in July when the California Supreme Court blocked the Cal 3 proposal from the November ballot, arguing that such a significant change would require action by the California legislature. Yes, California is even planning ahead for the day when it may need to establish diplomatic relations with other countries. In 2016, the campaign opened an embassy in Moscow in an effort to boost trade and tourism. So whether this happens or not, this is very significant, as you can see, and it's all part of prophecy that these Edomites would fight against each other in the last days. And not just that, but that the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28 would start to fall upon you Edomites as well as these other nations. And a key part of that being where it talks about how the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, had an evil eye for each other and would turn against each other, which can clearly be seen with the animosity between so-called African American communities and the so-called Latino and Native American communities. But as I just said, as we near the end of this kingdom, we're going to start to see these curses be put upon our enemies, as it says in Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. And Yahweh thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. One of those being, as it says in Deuteronomy 28 and 54, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. And we're starting to see an evil eye between these Edomites through you liberal and conservative Edomites, which are on the point of a civil war, which will break out. And now I'm going to go to Isaiah chapter 19 just to further hammer in the point that there will be a violent civil war between you Edomites or so-called white people. This is Isaiah chapter 19 verse 1. The burden of Egypt, and the modern day Egypt is America, as pursuant to Revelations chapter 11 verse 8. Behold, Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And we're seeing the heart of these modern day Egyptians or Americans melt. They're on the verge of again a civil war, and also they can't take that this country's falling apart. You can see it with this opioid crisis getting worse. You Edomites can't take any bit of adversity because you've lived so deliciously for so long. Verse 2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Think of that Cal exit, for instance, and it's only going to get worse from here on out. And besides, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that can understand what I'm saying, you shouldn't be worried about making a covenant with these heathens, because this place, America or Babylon the Great, is about to go down and never be again. And as we'll see in Isaiah chapter 13, to any of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that don't heed these words and try to cling unto these other nations, y'all are going to get put to death once we get into the nitty-gritty of Jacob's trouble. This is Isaiah chapter 13 verse 14. And it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. And when it's complete pandemonium out here, these other nations are going to try to leave America to go back to their other lands. And if they can't do that, they're going to create enclaves in their own communities with their own people to protect themselves. And to any of you Israelites that try to cling unto them, they're going to put you to death. They don't want you. And where it says, and it shall be as the chased roe, that's talking about you Edomites, because not only are you going to be having a civil war, but in the midst of that, these other nations are going to do what they can to get you back for what you did to them, not just today, but in the past, chiefly you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Verse 15, everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. So you Israelites should be doing what you can to stop clinging unto these other nations, because if you wait too long and are still trying to cling unto them during Jacob's trouble, as it said, y'all shall be thrust through and fall by the sword. And again, y'all shouldn't be trying to do that anyway, because Babylon the Great, or America, is on its way out and is about to be destroyed by a nuclear fire, as well as so-called laser beams from the chariot of Yahushai. I'm going to jump down to Isaiah 13 and 19. And Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, that golden city, as pursuant to Revelation chapter 18, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. And you know what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah for its wickedness. All that fire and brimstone flew from the sky onto that place and destroyed it. And it's going to be no different today, but it's going to be that man-made fire and brimstone from those nuclear missiles, as well as, again, so-called lasers from Yahushai's chariot. Verse 20, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. So this land is going to be uninhabitable to human life. That's how severe this destruction is going to be. This landmass of the United States is going to be a memorial to these other nations on how not to live your life. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the only life that's going to inhabit this wasteland are going to be animals that are fit to live in a desolate wasteland, such as deserts and such like that. So as you can see, we're nearing the end of this wicked rulership. So you brothers just keep strong, pray and fast if you need be, and just we all need to hope we make it to the end. And with that, I hope you sincere Akim out there were edified. I'm going to say a Baba Ball, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.